the risk factor that we have already discussed in the previous class. Today we discuss about the different category of the risk factor in connection with cardiovascular diseases. Different categories of the risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. Now, as per the guideline of American College of Cardiology, they divided the risk factors into 4 categories, and it is internationally accepted about the classification of risk factor or categorization of the risk factors for coronary heart disease, CHD, coronary heart disease. On the basis of the strength of association of the risk factor with coronary heart disease, whether it has been established by research or it has some relationship with cardiovascular diseases or coronary heart disease, but it is not well established, or whether these risk factors are related with cardiovascular disease is not well established, and so many evidences are required, and the risk factors whether non-modifiable or not. So on the basis of 4 criteria, I'd like to discuss later on the basis of 4 criteria, the American College of Cardiology classified the risk factors of coronary heart disease into 4 categories. That is category 1, category 2, category 3, and category 4. So, internationally accepted classification of the risk factors of coronary heart disease is mainly categorized into 4 categories. Category 1, that cover the risk factors which are closely associated with the coronary heart disease, and this relationship or associationship has been established firmly, confirmed by research work, and these are under category 1. So what are the category 1 risk factors for cardiovascular disease? Category 1 cover those risk factors for coronary heart disease which have been established firmly, confirmedly for the onset of coronary heart disease by ample research work. That means there is no dilemma, there is no question, there is no confusion, okay, about the role of these risk factors, involvement of these risk factors for the coronary heart disease. So it has been well established. Then these factors are under category 1. Am I clear? Are under category 1. Now under this category 1, there are 6 risk factors. There are 6 risk factors. In category 1, there are 6 risk factors, and their role, their direction of correlation, strength of correlation, and their regression all have been well established from research-oriented data analysis. Okay. So there is no question about the impact of such risk factors for coronary heart disease. That means these are well established, and these are included in category 1. What are these? There are 6 risk factors under category 1, like the diet, like cigarette smoking, like LDL-C, the low density lipoprotein cholesterol, like left ventricular hypertrophy, LVH, and another one is known as thrombogenic factors. So 6 factors which have been well established for the onset of coronary heart disease are categorized under category 1 or included in category 1, and these are 6 in number. That's the diet, cigarette smoking, low density lipoprotein cholesterol, next one hypertension, next one left ventricular hypertrophy, and sixth one that is a thrombogenic factor. First of all, I like to say about the diet. It has been well established that diet has the nature of the diet, composition of the diet, have a strong relationship with coronary heart disease, risks of coronary heart disease. It has been indicated that if the diet is dense with saturated fat, if the diet is dense with saturated fat, two people are waiting for. So if the diet is saturated with, if the diet is saturated or dense with saturated fat, okay, then the risk of coronary heart disease is very high. The risk of coronary heart disease is very high. Similarly, if there is an imbalance between the energy intake through diet and the energy requirement, that means if the energy intake is more than the energy requirement, and if this imbalance of the energy is going on for a chronic period, not for 1 day, 2 day, or 1 week. If the energy consumption is more than the energy requirement, and if such imbalance state is maintained for chronic period, month after month or year after year, and then it has a strong correlation for onset of coronary heart disease. That means it is a strong risk factor for coronary heart disease. So this is the dietary factor, and this is under category 1. Next one is the cigarette smoking. It has been indicated that active cigarette smoking and passive cigarette smoking, active and the passive cigarette smoking. Active, that means the smoker directly, and passive, that means the individual who are also inhale the smoke of the cigarette, okay, along with inspiration. They are not directly smoker, but the individual who inhale that cigarette smoke, never who close to the smoker, these are not the passive smoker. So both the active smoker and passive smoker, and if they are exposed to that cigarette smoke for long period, it has been indicated that there is a high risk for the onset of coronary heart disease. And from the withdrawal study, it has been indicated that after the arrestation, after the withdrawal of this cigarette smoking of a smoker, that means the smoker for 10 years, and after that, it has been indicated that if that smoker is allowed to stop this cigarette smoking, not for 1 month, not for 1 year, but for 15 years, it has been indicated that coronary risk is decreased 10 times. Coronary risk is decreased 10 times. And the incidence rate of the coronary heart disease of such modified smoker is same like the non-smoker. Same like the non-smoker. So the withdrawal effect is for withdrawal duration should be long period, not for 1 year, but for 15 years withdrawal of the smoking. That means if the smoker arrests the smoking, cigarette smoking for next 15 years, 15 years, okay, it has been indicated that the risk for coronary heart disease is decreased, and it is more or less same to the non-smoker. Okay. Moreover, the cigarette smoking, the risk of coronary heart disease in cigarette smoker is triggered, is enhanced if that individual, especially that woman, also use oral contraceptive pill. So there is a synergistic effect about the cigarette smoking as well, along with use of contraceptive. And it has been indicated that women who are smoker, regular smoker, and if they are habituated with oral contraceptive pill, then the risk of coronary heart disease is elevated 10 times in comparison to the other women who are not smoker as well as not oral contraceptive pill user. So such regular research work confirms that there is a strong relationship between the cigarette smoking and the coronary vascular disease. Now the question became that how the smoking can able to enhance the risk of coronary heart disease. It has been indicated that when alcohol is present in this cigarette, can able to increase the plaque formation in the artery, can enhance the plaque formation in artery. It also enhances the thrombus formation within the blood vessel. Plaque formation, thrombus formation. And it also results arrhythmias. Arrhythmias, that means the rhythmicity of the heart become abnormal. Rhythmicity of the heart becomes abnormal. Side by side, it increases the blood glucose level. And this blood glucose level is also another risk factor for HD, which is under category 2, not category 1. Side by side, the smoking also decrease the HDL-C level, high density lipoprotein cholesterol level. Okay. And this HDL-C level is decreased in regular smoker, by 6 to 8 mg per dl. You know that normal HDL-C about 60 mg per dl. And if it is less than 40 mg per dl, then it also results in risk factor. So if this normal level, you may say that is about 40 to 60 mg per dl, if this range of HDL-C is considered as 60 to 40 mg per dl, it has been indicated that the regular smoker for a chronic period, their HDL-C level is decreased by 6 to 8 mg per dl. Okay, that means if it is 50 in case of the non-smoker, then it becomes 50 minus 8, that is 42 mg per dl. So it indicates that due to the smoking, HDL-C level is decreased. Okay, and this HDL-C is also known as reverse transportation of cholesterol, the most important factor for reverse transportation of cholesterol. Reverse transportation, what is the normal transportation of cholesterol? That is the cholesterol from liver to the arterial lumen. In reverse direction, that means when the cholesterol is transported from the luminal surface of the blood vessel to liver, that means opposite direction. And as a result, there is minimum chance of atherosclerosis, or the chance is withdrawn for atherosclerosis. That means the cholesterol would be transported from the luminal surface of the blood vessels to the liver, and it would be metabolized. So this is the reverse direction, opposite direction of the cholesterol transport, and this opposite direction of cholesterol transport is conducted by HDL-C. And due to the low level of HDL-C in connection with smoking, atherosclerosis is also enhanced. Okay, so this is the second factor under category 1, that is the smoking. Now next one, that is the low density lipoprotein cholesterol, LDL-C. So LDL-C, you know that is a bad cholesterol, LDL-C. And its optimum level, LDL-C, is less than 100 mg per dl, 100 mg per dl. Then that means if the LDL-C level is less than 100 mg per dl, then it indicates that it is safe. If this level is 100 to 129 mg per dl, then it indicates the above optimum level. That means above normal. And if it is 130 to 159, then it indicates the borderline. And if it is more 160 to 189, then it is a high risk. And if it is more than 190, it is indicated the very high risk level. So there is a relationship between the elevation level of LDL-C along with the degree of risk of coronary heart disease. And it has been well established. And so LDL-C is also under considered of the category 1. I repeated that if the LDL-C is less than 100 mg per dl, then it indicates a very safe level. If it is 100 to 129 mg per dl, then it indicates the above the optimal, that means above the normal level. 130 to 159 mg per dl, it indicates the borderline. It indicates the borderline, high borderline. That means anytime the individual will be shifted to the normal level, physiological stage, to the pathological stage. And if it is level 160 to 189, it indicates the high risk. And if it is more than 190 mg per dl, it is very high. So due to that, so there is a positive correlation. There is a positive correlation of the elevation, the degree of the risk of coronary heart disease, along with the elevation of LDL-C. Okay, and it has been indicated that if you decrease 1 mg LDL-C per dl per 100 ml, if you can able to decrease LDL-C by 1 mg per dl, 1 mg per dl, okay, then it indicates that 1 to 2% decrease in the relative risks of corona. Relative risks we have already mentioned in the previous class are relative risks. So if you decrease the LDL-C at the rate of, at the level of 1 mg per dl, 1 mg per dl, then you can able to decrease the relative risk of coronary heart disease by 1 to 2%. 1 to 2%. So there is also a negative correlation. That means if you decrease the LDL-C level, the coronary heart disease also decrease. And the percentage that if you can able to decrease LDL-C by 1 mg per day, then the relative risk of coronary heart disease would be decreased by 1 to 2%. Okay, so this suggests that it has a well-established relationship about the intensity of the coronary heart disease and the level of the LDL-C. The LDL-C can be decreased by high intake of dietary fiber. Dietary fiber, if you intake a normal level of dietary fiber, that is 35 gram to 40 gram per day, or you may say that is about 20 gram dietary fiber per 2000 kilocalorie as per ICMR 2010 guideline. Okay, 20 gram dietary fiber per 2000 kilocalorie. It has been indicated that you can able to decrease the low density lipoprotein cholesterol. Similarly, if you consume high level of PUFA and MUFA and low level of saturated fatty acid, then the LDL-C can be decreased. Okay. But this LDL-C is elevated by aging process, by saturated fat intake, by reduced estrogen level. And for this reason, it has been indicated that at the pre-menopausal life, the women are less suffering from the coronary heart disease. But at the post-menopausal life, it has been indicated that the coronary heart disease of the woman is elevated due to the low level of the estrogen. Because this estrogen, low estrogen, can able to increase the LDL-C. Okay, so LDL-C is elevated, that is by saturated fat, by aging, by that is the reduced estrogen level, by diabetes, by hypothyroidism. If the thyroid activity is decreased, then LDL-C level would be elevated. Okay. Obstructive liver disease. That means if the individual is suffering from hepatic disease, because you have already mentioned that hepatic cells, hepatocyte cells are responsible for metabolism of cholesterol. And the reverse direction of the reverse transformation of cholesterol is also controlled by the hepatic activity. Because HDL-C can able to transport the cholesterol from the lumen of the blood vessel to the liver. And this transportation can able to decrease the LDL-C. So if the liver cells are suffering from deficiency of its activity, then the metabolism of the cholesterol or catabolism of the cholesterol or reverse transportation of cholesterol will be interfered. That will favor the cholesterol deposition in the lumen of the artery and increase the coronary heart disease. Okay, so LDL-C can be increased or decreased by several modifying factors, and their correlation has been well established. And for the reason, LDL-C is also under category 1. Next one, hypertension. Hypertension, the relationship between coronary heart disease and hypertension is also well established, and it is confirmed that there is a positive correlation along with the elevation of systolic and diastolic blood pressure and the coronary heart disease. And so it is also under category 1. It has been indicated that 50% of myocardial infarction and 66% of the cardiac stroke is noted when the individual having a blood pressure is more than 160 by 90 millimeter. That means when the systolic blood pressure is more than 160 millimeter of it, and if the diastolic blood pressure is more than 90 millimeter of it, and if it is sustained for long period, for year after year, it has been indicated the chance of myocardial infarction is increased and the cardiac stroke is increased. That means out of all the myocardial infarction patient, 50%, and half, 50% myocardial infarcted patient and 66% of cardiac stroke patient are suffering from hypertension, where the systolic blood pressure is more than 160 and diastolic blood pressure is more than 90. Okay, so this indicates that there is also a positive correlation and it has been well established. Okay, And by treatment, if you decrease the hypertension by different therapy, that is by pharmacotherapy, by exercise therapy, by diet therapy, okay? If you can able to control this hypertension, if you can able to decrease the hypertension, then the incidence of the stroke, incidence of cardiovascular disease, incidence of myocardial infarction can be decreased. So there is a positive as well as there is a also a positive correlation, that is positive direction as well as the negative direction. If you increase the blood pressure, then the coronary heart disease also increase. It is a positive. And similarly, if the blood pressure is decreased, the coronary heart disease also decrease. It is also a positive correlation. Okay. And next one, that the left ventricular hypertrophy. You know, left ventricle is associated with the cardiac output in the systemic circulation. That means blood comes to the aorta through the left ventricle. But if there is a left ventricular hypertrophy, if left ventricular hypertrophy, that means the muscle mass of the left ventricle is increased. Left ventricle is increased. But the blood vessel along the myocardium of the left ventricle is not elevated in that proportionate way. In that condition, the myocardial tissue is suffering from hypoxia, and it may result in myocardial infarction. So left ventricular hypertrophy is also positively associated with risks of cardiovascular disease. Left ventricular hypertrophy. And last one, 6 factors of the category 1 is thrombogenic factor. You know, thrombus, that means the coagulation of blood within the blood vessel. So when the blood clot is formed within the blood vessel, then this is known as the thrombus. And the factors that can elevate, that can favor, that can stimulate, that can enhance this thrombus formation is known as thrombogenic factor. And these are known as plasma fibrinogen. If the plasma fibrinogen level is increased, then this thrombus formation, probability of the thrombus is also elevated. That also increases the coronary heart disease. Sedentary lifestyle is another thrombogenic factor. If you are habituated in sedentary lifestyle, in spite of that, you also consume the excess energy. Okay, then thrombogenic probability is also elevated, and thereby the chance of cardiovascular disease is also enhanced. Similarly, at present, it has been indicated that some genes are responsible for thrombogenesis. And it has been indicated that 30 to 50% of the myocardial infarction, or you may say that is the cardiac stroke, related with high level of thrombogenic activity, is linked with first generation blood linked relationship, having myocardial infarction below the age of 50 and stroke, both in male and the female, below the age of 45. Okay, that means if father or mother suffering from myocardial infarction, it has been indicated that in the next generation, below the age of 45, not at the overaged individual, below the age of 45, if the myocardial infarction and the stroke is noted, it has been indicated that near about 50% cases, 30 to 40%, near about 30 to 40% cases, their parental generation or grandfather, grandmother generation are suffering from myocardial infarction or cardiac stroke. Okay, so some genes are also linked with that thrombogenic factor. The most important drug that is also consumed for prevention of thrombogenesis is known as the aspirin, different form of the aspirin. Okay, different form of aspirin that can able to prevent the thrombogenesis. So these are the 6 factors which are under category 1 risk factor. Which are these? Number 1, that is diet. Second one, that is cigarette smoking. Third one, that is LDLC, low density lipoprotein cholesterol. Okay. Fourth one, that is the hypertension. fifth one, and sixth one, thrombogenic factor. Okay, so this is the category 1. Well, now what is the category 2? Category 2 risk factor. Second, category 2 risk factor. Now category 2 risk factor, that means these risk factors are likely or possibly linked with coronary heart disease. Coronary heart disease. But it is not confirmed. In some of the cases shows that there is a relationship, but in few cases it indicates that relationship is not established. So it is not confirmed. These factors are under category 2. So what is the basis for the inclusion of the risk factors under category 2? I repeat it. The risk factors for coronary heart disease are included in category 2 risk factors, okay, which are likely to be involved for the onset of coronary heart disease. But there is no confirmed evidence about the risks of coronary heart disease in presence of these factors. Then these are under category 2 risk factors. Category 2 risk factors. Okay? Under category 2 risk factors, there are 5 factors. 5 factors. In category 1, there are 6 factors, and category 2, there are 5 factors. What are they? There is diabetes, number 1. Number 2, physical inactivity. Number 3, HDLC. LDLC in category 1, but HDLC in category 2. Okay? And obesity. And 6th one, the menopause. I repeat it. So what are the factors under category 2? There's the diabetes, number 1. Number 2, that is the physical inactivity. Number 3, that is the HDLC. Number 4, that is the obesity. And number 5, that is the menopause. First of all, that's the diabetes. It has been noted that in type 1 and type 2 diabetes, the risk of coronary heart disease is increased, but it is not well established. Okay, and which one is the actual cause? What is the relationship between the diabetes and coronary heart disease? Is not proved through scientific process, because some indirect pathways have been identified. Because diabetes can able to results oxidative stress, that oxidative stress results LDLC ox, that is the low density lipoprotein cholesterol oxidized form. That LDLC ox is the starter for the atherosclerosis. So there is no direct relationship, but diabetes can induce this coronary heart disease through LDLC ox. Number 1. Number 2, it has been indicated that diabetic patients are suffering from hyperlipidemia. And due to such hyperlipidemia, the coronary heart disease is also noted. So diabetes, not directly, diabetes is the elevation of blood glucose, but diabetes, other complications of the diabetes, okay, that is the hyperlipidemia that can able to increase the risk of coronary heart disease. So the direct involvement, is there any link of the diabetic gene along with the interaction of this gene involved for the coronary heart disease? So is there any gene interaction? Is there any gene interaction? Is there a direct cause of elevation of blood glucose can alter the activity of the cardiac tissue that lead to coronary heart disease? Such relationship was not. Okay, and for this reason, these are under category 2, not category 1. It has been indicated that 80% death of the diabetic, 80% death here. 80% death of the diabetic patient, okay, due to the. So there is an indirect relationship, and this relationship is also strong, but the direct evidence is not true. 80% death of the diabetes is due to the. So from this study, it indicates the risk factor for coronary heart disease, but the actual mechanism is not known. Direct mechanism is not known. Direct involvement is not known, and for this reason, it is known as category 2. Now, role of cardiovascular disease occurs 4 times more in women, 4 times more in women having the age of 18 to 44 years. That means at the premenopausal age with diabetes, compared with women without diabetes. One data is noted that the rate of onset of coronary heart disease at the premenopausal women, that means at the reproductive life of women, that means 18 to 44 years age of women with diabetes, okay, the coronary heart disease is increased 4 times more in respect to the same age group of women who are not suffering from diabetes. So this study indicates that there is a relationship between them. But this is due to the diabetes or due to the estrogen? Due to the estrogen. It's not clear. It's not clear. For the reason, it is also under category 2. Similarly, at the postmenopausal, it has been indicated that postmenopausal, then when the estrogen level is decreased, the prevalence of CVD is double in respect to the diabetic woman. Okay, in respect to the diabetic woman, in comparison to the non-diabetic woman. So at the postmenopausal, the chance of the onset of rate of CVD is also double. Okay, in respect to the non-diabetic patient. And it has been indicated that LDL-C cholesterol in the diabetic patient is, if we maintain the LDL-C level of the cholesterol, LDL-C cholesterol level is less than 100 mg per day of that postmenopausal woman. Though they are diabetic, but the rate of cardiovascular disease is less. So this study also contradicts the relationship between diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And further, the reason is category 2, because there is some contradictory evidence. I repeat it again, that at the postmenopausal life, we have already mentioned that cardiovascular disease diabetes is high, and it is 2 times more, okay, than the non-diabetic postmenopausal woman. But one study also noted that in case of the postmenopausal woman with diabetes, okay, if we can able to maintain the LDL-C level, which is under LDL-C is under category 1, if we regulate the LDL-C level less than 100 mg per day, which is the normal level, okay, though the postmenopausal women are suffering from diabetes, but the rate of onset of the cardiovascular disease is minimum, and just like the non-diabetic patient, non-diabetic woman. So this study also contradicts the relationship between the diabetes and the coronary heart disease in case of the post-menopausal stage. So this is the diabetic one. Next one, that is the physical inactivity. This factor is also under category 2, physical inactivity. Because it has been indicated that physical inactivity is another factor that increases the chance of coronary heart disease, physical inactivity. But its direct involvement is not known, because due to the physical inactivity, if the energy consumption is high, then it may lead to the high level of the cholesterol, and that cholesterol, mainly LDL-C cholesterol, also increase the chance of a risk of coronary heart disease. So this physical inactivity is also involved to some extent for the coronary heart disease, but not directly. That means it operates through altering the level of LDL-C, altering the level of LDL-C. Another study also noted that if the individual engaged at least 30 minutes in moderate to severe physical work per day, at least minimum, at least 30 minutes in moderate to severe physical work per day, okay? That is walking 3 to 4 miles per hour, or steering, or you may say house cleaning or gardening. It has been indicated that the chance of coronary heart disease is also low. So this study also supports that physical activity, if you physically active, then the chance of coronary heart disease also decreased. Okay. Next one, that HDL-C. Next, under category 2, HDLC. We have already mentioned that high density lipoprotein cholesterol is involved for reverse transportation of cholesterol, and the normal level is more than 60 mg per dl, more than 60 mg per dl. And if this level is less than 40 mg per dl, then this is the risk factor. This is the risk factor. But this HDLC, that means if the HDLC is high, then the risk of coronary heart disease will be decreased. That means there is a negative correlation. If the HDLC is high, then the risk of coronary heart disease will be low. So this is the negative correlation. Okay, but some studies indicate that HDLC is not the only or the sole risk factor. Okay, but cholesterol HDL ratio, cholesterol, total cholesterol by HDLC ratio is important for coronary heart disease. If the total cholesterol by HDLC is more than 3.5, mind that, if this ratio is more than 3.5, then it is a high risk for coronary heart disease. So this study not focus the direct involvement of HDLC. Another study also indicates that LDLC HDLC ratio is another factor for the risk of coronary heart disease. If the LDLC by HDLC ratio is more than 2.5, it indicates the high risk of coronary heart disease. Okay, I repeat it, HDLC, the high density lipoprotein cholesterol, it is responsible for the reverse transportation of cholesterol. That means it transports cholesterol from the lumen of the arterial wall to the liver, where the cholesterol applies. Okay, a normal level of HDLC is more than 40 mg per dl, and if it is better, more than 60 mg per dl. But if this level is less than 40 mg per dl, it's the risk factor. But some study indicated that the HDLC is not the only sensor. That means it is not the independent sensor for the regulation of the risk of coronary heart disease. But cholesterol by HDLC ratio, LDLC by HDLC ratio are more important sensor in this concern. If the cholesterol divided by HDLC ratio is more than 3.5, then the risk of coronary heart disease will be increased. Similarly, if LDLC by HDLC ratio is more than 2.5, then the risk of coronary heart disease is also elevated. Next one, obesity in the categories 2. 1 minute more. Obesity. Obesity, that means higher obesity. If the BMI is high, then it has been indicated that the risk of coronary heart disease is increased. But it has been indicated that out of the obesity, the triglyceride level is the most important factor. Triglyceride, if more than 35, 35 to 48 mg per dl, then it had